Today we create a website presentation in After Effects. Hey guys, what's up? I am Nikhil from dopemotions.com and welcome to this brand new After Effects tutorial. Today we will be creating one of the most requested tutorial, that is how to create a really cool 3D website presentation in After Effects. We will be creating it without using any third-party plugins. It's going to be 100% After Effects. Also, many people were requesting me about how to install the animation studios in After Effects. Now I know many people have questions regarding it, so I'll provide the link to the Nitrosum's YouTube channel down in the description below, so you can go ahead and check it out. He has a complete tutorial on how to install it, how to use it, so make sure to check it out. The link will be down in the description below. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into After Effects and get started. Alright, so here we are in After Effects. Let's start by creating a new composition just like we always do, and this is gonna be our website comp where we will be dragging and dropping a screenshot of our website. So let's call this web underscore 01, which is the width is 1080 and the height is 1920, 30 fps, 10 seconds. Hit OK, and here I have a screenshot that I took from a random website. You can take a screenshot of your website that you have, and I'm just going to drag and drop it just like that. So here we have web 1 for our website. Let's create a new composition which is going to be our main comp. So let's call this main, and the width I'm going to set this to 1920 and height to 1080 just like we always do. 30 fps, 10 seconds, looks good. Hit OK. Then what I'm going to do is select the web 01 pre-comp that we created and drag it into a new composition, and then rename this to something like, let's call this media underscore 01. All right, and in this composition we will be creating that nice building up effect of the website. So to do that, let's create a new solid. Hit Ctrl Y to create a new solid, and let's call this stripes. Make comp size. Hit OK, and on this solid layer I will be using an inbuilt effect, that is the CC line sweep, and this effect creates some really nice animation, as you can see. So if I just hide this layer for now, really interesting. So let's actually, at the very beginning, I'm going to set this to 100 and also rotate the direction to 0. Let's create a keyframe on 100 and let's go to 2 seconds and set this to 0. So now we have this really simple animation. Now you can play around with the thickness and the slant, and play around with this and this as well to get the desired effect that I want to go for. As you can see, it looks pretty good. So for the thickness I'm going to go with 45%, and for the slant I'm going to go with 50%. All right, let's hit U so we can see the keyframes. Select the keyframes and hit F9. Go into the graph editor, and let's drag this point holding the handle just like so, and this one as well. Now if your graph editor doesn't look like this, make sure to right click and make sure you're working in the edit speed graph. So now we have a really interesting animation just like so. All right, now let's turn on this layer and let's use this strips layer as a track matte. So to do that, I'm going to hit F4 on the keyboard. Let's change this to alpha matte, and now we have something like so. Now to make it look a bit more interesting, what I can do is select both the layers and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, and then the top 2 layers I'm going to displace them by maybe 5 frames, and on the bottom layer I'm going to add a fill, and maybe I can give a really nice pinkish color. You can of course go with any color that you want. So you can see it looks pretty interesting. Okay, very cool. You can also use a gradient ramp if you want to. That would look a bit more better, I think. So here we have our simple animation. Now let's go ahead and make our slide 3D. So to do that, what we need to do is let's drag this media 1 composition that we created, that is this one, into a new comp, and let's actually rename this. So let's rename this to pre-comp, You can of course rename it to anything that you feel comfortable. I'm just gonna, I'm very bad at renaming things, so just bear with me. So into the pre-comp, now we are into the pre-comp. So now what we need to do is create some duplicates, and I'm going to create maybe around 30 duplicates. So hit Control D. Unless you have 10 copies, select the 10 copies, hit Control D, hit Control D. So now we have 30 layers of the slides. And then I'm going to go at the very bottom and create one more. So hit Control D. So we have 31 layers. Let's change the color of this to something like red, so we know it's a different layer. Also call this shadow. All right, and make sure to select them all, make them 3D, and also I'm going to add an effect, exposure effect on them. Actually I should have did that before duplicating it, but I forgot. So I'm just going to add exposure, set the exposure to -2, and also I'm going to add a fast blur, very minimal, like 2. Then copy these two effects. So hit Control C to copy it, select all the rest of the layers and hit Control V to paste them up. And then on the very top layer, that is the first layer, I'm going to turn off the exposure. Then into the shadow, I'm going to add an effect called tint. Let's make it black. And for the blurriness, I'm going to set this to around 400. All right. Also, let's select the shadow layer and hit P for the position. And as it is 3D, now we have the Z property as well. So let's set this to around, let's go maybe 330 and close this up. Now what we need to do is, let's make some room right over here. Let's select all the layers and hit P to bring down the position properties. And I'm going to displace them by 1. So the first layer, I'm going to set this, the Z property to 1. The second layer, I'm going to set the Z property to 2, third to 3, and so on. $29 and $30. Also, let's check the position of this one, 330. Yeah. Now the reason I did that is I'm going to show you in a minute. So let's actually select the pre-comp and drag it into a new composition again. And let's call this main pre-comp underscore 01. All right. Into the main composition, I'm going to drag and drop the main pre-comp. All right, so we have this. Also make it 3D and turn on collapse transformation. Go into the main pre-comp, also turn on the collapse transformation and 3D layer for that as well. And then scale this down to around maybe 45%. So we have something like that. And let's actually hide this, make some room. All right. And then let's actually add a background. So hit Control Y to add a background, call this BG. Put this below. So now we have something like that. Now I can rotate it in any direction that I want, and it's going to be 3D just like so. So now what I'm going to do is actually, let's create a camera. 50 millimeters looks good. Also make a new null object, make it 3D, and let's turn on the parent option and parent the camera to the null object. So we can control the camera using the null object. Now let's actually start animating our slide. So at 2 seconds, this animation gets completed. So from here, what I'm going to do is, let's select the main pre-comp, that is this layer, hit P to bring down the position properties, create a keyframe, hit R to bring down the rotation properties and create a keyframe on X, Y, and Z. Then hit U so we can see all the keyframes that we created. Go to 4 seconds. And let's create a really nice animation. So at 4 seconds, I'm going to move it just like so. And then let's give it a rotation of maybe -20 on the X rotation, -20 on the Y rotation, and -20 on the Z rotation as well. If something like that. Maybe I'll go a bit more in the Y rotation, I think. So something like maybe -25. Yep, looks good. And for the shadow, I think it's a bit too dark. So let's go into the main pre-comp, and there we have the shadow layer at the bottom. Let's hit T to bring up the opacity. Let's bring this down to around 60%. Let's go. And yep, now it's looking a bit more organic, I think. So we have this really nice and simple animation. Now to make it look more interesting, let's select all the keyframes, hit F9, go into the graph editor, and into the center, I'm going to create a peak. So to do that, let's actually select the points and drag the handles holding shift. Select these points and drag the handle to the left holding shift, just like so. So now we have a really nice and smooth animation. Very, very nice. So there we have our first slide created. Now to create the second slide, we need to duplicate everything. Now you can do that manually, but it's gonna take a lot of time. So what I can do pretty quick is let's drag every pre-comp into a specific folder. So let's select the web one, drag it into the web_1 folder, select the pre-comp, drag it into a new folder. Let's call this pre_comp. Select the media one, drag it into a new folder, call this media_1. Oh, let's actually call this media. And for the main pre-comp, let's drag it into a new folder, call this m pre-comp. All right. And now what I can do is let's go and select the main pre-comp, that is this one. And I'm going to use a script to duplicate it using the TrueComp duplicator script. I'll provide the link down in the description. It is a paid script, but you can purchase it if you want to. I use the TrueComp duplicator a lot for duplicating many projects. When you're using a more complex project and you want to duplicate many composition at once, it can get a bit tedious. So this scripts help me to pre-comp really quick. Now the reason I created this folder is because now if I duplicate this, every duplicated composition is going to be under that specific folder. So it keeps the things really handy, really organized, and very easy to use. Now what I can do is select the main pre-comp and hit Control D to duplicate it. And the second one, I'm going to replace it with the main pre-comp 2 that we have. So let's hold Alt and drag and drop it. Now let's go into the main pre-comp and go into the web 2 and delete this. I'm going to use the second screenshot, just like so. Go into the main comp. So let's jump into the main comp, and if I just displace this just to give you guys an idea of what we have, we have 2 layers, just like so. So I'm going to select the main pre-comp 2, hit P to bring down the position properties, go right over here and bring down the position to, I think, somewhere around maybe 150, and this to 150 as well. And then let's move this right over here, just like so. So now we should have something like this. Really cool. Maybe a bit more. And for this one's shadow, I'm gonna make this a bit more lighter. So let's make this 50% maybe. And for the fast play, I'm gonna set this to 350. Let's see. Yep, that is looking very nice. So we have this really nice animation. Now you can create more and more duplicates, add more and more screenshot of your website. So it's really simple and easy, as you can see. Very simple. So let's actually make the background even more better. So let's add a gradient ramp to this, and I'm gonna make some room right over here. Let's drag the point and drag this one somewhere around there, and let's set this to something like a really nice light blue color, and this to a really nice dark purplish, something like so. Maybe something a little darker, just like so. Increase the ramp scatter to 100 just so we don't get any color bendings. And you can also switch to 16 bits if you want to, just tweak the colors a little bit more. There we go. You can also switch to 16 bits by holding Alt and clicking on this icon. That will help to, get rid of any kind of color bendings that we have. So as you can see, we have this really nice animation. Also, to add some accents, what I can do is select the ellipse tool and set the stroke to around 100. We don't need any fill, so I'm going to set this to none. And let's create a circle holding Control and Shift at the same time, just like so. These are going to be some accents that we can add in the background. So let's select the layer, hit U 2 times, and increase this to around 1000. Nice bigger circle. Maybe increase the stroke a bit. Let's put this below everything. And also I'm going to add Venetial blinds to this. Increase this, rotate it by 45 degrees. I'm doing it very randomly. You can just add a simple design, whatever that you want to go with, maybe a different one if you want to. So something like that. And also switch the blending mode to soft light maybe. Yep, that is looking much better. And I can bring down the opacity a little bit, so something like 70. Yep, that is looking good. Let's add some text. So I'm type in, let's call this dope motions. And for the font, let's go with something different. So let's go with Unisans, maybe heavy. Yep, that looks much better. Let's set this to 0. Place it somewhere around there. And then hit Control, deduplicate it, pull this below and call this www.dopemotions.com. You can also add a description if you want to. Oh, I think I'll copy this. So hit Control C, double click, Control V. And then let's go with a thin caps. Or maybe I'll go with a Unisans bold. Bring this to around 60 and pull this below. And for the accent, I think I'm going to set this to 50%. So now we have our text. Let's add some cool animation, and I'll be using a preset that I showed you guys in the previous tutorial on how to create this cool text preset. So you can go and check it out. I'll provide the link in the I button above, so you can go and check out the tutorial on how to create this particular preset. So actually, let's go and let's turn on the effects and preset panel. So let's go effects and preset, animation preset, user preset, DM, and I have some presets that I've created for myself. So I'm gonna add this fun text animation, and I have showed in the tutorial on how to create this really cool animation. So let's actually hit U and close this stuff. Let's drag this to, actually I'm gonna delete the keyframes. So we have just the animation, very cool text animation. I'm gonna just place it, I think, into the 2-second mark. And same with this one. Let's drag and drop it, hit U and just delete the keyframes. So now we should have, let's actually switch to 8 bits per channel. Let's see what we have. So as you can see, we have this really interesting text animation. And as I told you guys, I have already created a tutorial on how to create this, so you can go and check it out. The link will be in the I button and the description as well. So looks very cool, I think. You can also add a description of your website if you want to, but basically you get the idea or what we are going for. Also for the accent, I'm gonna add a really quick trim path animation. So let's go ahead and add a trim path. Very beginning. Let's set this to 0. Create a keyframe. Go to around 4 seconds. Set this to 100. Create a keyframe on the offset. Go back in time. Let's set this to maybe -180. Select the keyframes and hit F9. Also, let's go into the strokes and set this to round cap. So we have this really simple animation, and I don't want to start it just like, you know, this pop-up. So I can actually go into the trim paths and change the offset. So I can set this to maybe 180 degrees plus 180 degrees. That is not gonna work. So what I can do is actually I can rotate this up. So let's go forward in time. Let's select the shape layer, and no, I don't want it that way, so let's turn this off for now. Let's see from where it is starting. Yep, I think this is looking pretty good. So what I can do is let's set the offset to 0, go forward in time, and let's set this to 180 degrees. And now we should have a really interesting animation, hopefully. Not able to see the animation now. There we go. There we have it, really nice and simple. So let's select the keyframes, hit F9. Then I can just duplicate it, hit Control D to duplicate it, hit U 2 times. Let's actually bring down the stroke width just like so, and we don't want any Venetil blinds on this, so let's delete that and increase the size, so just to add a bit more accent. Let's select this one, hit Control D, and I'm going to place it somewhere around here. Also hit U 2 times and make this a bit smaller, something like so. Also I'm going to change the offset. You can basically rotate it, but it's going to rotate it from a different direction, I think. There we go. Really nice accents. I think it's looking pretty good. So yep, I think it's looking very nice. Now some final touches that I would like to add is create a new adjustment layer, place it in the top, and let's add some curves adjustments. Make the colors pop out a bit, just like so. Also let's duplicate it, hit Control D, delete the curves, and add a sharpen to this. You can also add light leaks if you want to. That would look really cool as well. And there we have a really nice website presentation using some really easy steps. So I hope this tutorial was simple, useful, and helped you guys in creating something new today. So that is a wrap for today, guys. I hope this tutorial was helpful, and if it was, make sure to subscribe, comment, and like, and I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to stay raw, stay creative.
You getting stuck, I see feet in the mud. You have been caught in the flood. While the water isn't parted, we run, put you so the harvest is us. You have been enjoying life, sipping the syrup and a line in the way. Taking whatever you touch, the sword of the wicked is covered in blood. Welcome to the city of the 9 cents, pleasure is the peace.